shout in the dark. Trying so hard to be set free. When you want to get out, you want my dreams, holding me captive in my sleep. When you want to get out, you want my dreams, holding me captive in my own sleep. I want you.
Oh, you got stars, stars in your eyes. I know it from the way you make me feel so alive. Like I'm up on a mountainside, gazing at the night sky, but I'm just looking at the stars in your eyes. Surprise, your perfect light is shining on me. You're like a dream sequence, you're all up in my feelings. I see your picture, something triggers, now you're stuck inside my head. Get out of my head, please. Get out of my head, please. Oh, oh, oh. And whenever I see you, and whenever I see you, my heart beats like crazy. From the way you make me feel so alive, like
We were floating down the river in your red canoe. You were laughing at my stories, oh, back from my youth. Yeah, and I remember thinking to myself that you were the one. Oh, oh, you were stunning, you were lovely, yeah, you were fun. And there was no one else I wanted to see. There was nothing else I wanted to do. There was nowhere else I wanted to be than floating down that stream with you. Oh, that one time on the west coast in the dead of night, we were watching cruise ships gently pass us by. Oh, and I remember gazing at your face in the starry light. Oh, oh, thinking life don't get much better than a night like tonight. 'Cause there was no one else I wanted to see. There was nothing else I wanted to do. There was nowhere else I wanted to be than sitting oceanside with you. There's nothing, nowhere, no one. Yeah, there's nothing, nowhere, no one. Oh, there's nothing, nowhere, no one. Yeah, there's nothing, nowhere, no one that I'd rather be with than you, my love. 'Cause there's no one else I want to see. There is nothing else I want to do. There is nowhere else I want to be than with my arms wrapped tight around you. Oh yeah, oh oh.
What's up, guys? Hey, everybody. Surprise, surprise. Hey, what's going on? Good to see you, Amanda. Hey, Stefan, Anna, Liz, what's going on? What's up, Alan? Good to see you, man. Wendy and Aaron, and it just says iPad, or I'd say hi to you. What's up, son? Good up. Let's see you, Dennis Lloyd. What's up, man? Good to see you again. Hey, Becky, Bradley. Hey, guys, glad to have you here today. This is kind of a surprise training. If you're here, that means you're part of Mastermind. You're part of our family. And my schedule, as everybody's schedule is, my schedule gets really crazy for the rest of the year. Of course, my inner circles are pre-planned, they're documented, and my team wanted to fit in before we get to the end of the year. We all had this idea, let's do a training to help just do some anchor foundational pieces so we can make 2023 our best year ever. Who's ready to make 2023 the best year ever, right? And I was thinking, I'll tell you what, you know where this training came from? One of the reasons. Have you ever, I know this is going to sound silly, but I'm a guy, and when I was a boy and I was young, I used to race bicycles and race motorcycles, and I used to race snowmobiles when I was a kid. I didn't have a lot of money, and I had an older junky snowmobile, but it was really fast, and I had fun. And when you race the snowmobile, I used to, you're like, what the hell does this got to do with anything? I'll tell you in a minute. I used to drag race, and it would be like the drag racing lights would be like red, red, yellow, green. As soon as it hit green, you hit the gas and you go. And like I was like 17, 18 when I did that. And it's still in my head a lot of times when I'm at a red light, I'm like waiting for it. I don't go fast, but like I think about it. But about 2 weeks ago, I was realizing the power of a rolling start. So I really would love for you to write that down. The power of a rolling start. Thank you, Aaron. I try to land the plane. The power of a rolling start. And this is what made me think of that. I know it sounds crazy, but there was like, I was on a 4-lane highway or a 4-lane road, and there was a street light, and it was red. And all 3 lanes, you know how you always find the lane, at least I do, I find the lane that no one else is in, right? If there's cars in one and there's one up against the light with nobody in it, you merge over to that one. And what I realized is the lane I was in had no cars, and I was going about 10 miles an hour when the light turned green. And there was no way they could even catch up to me because they were all stopped dead. And I had the power of a rolling start. And now you're like, if this is your first time joining me on a training, you might be like, this guy's crazy. I thought I was coming here for a surprise training. But the power of a rolling start is the theme I want to share with this training today, because how about in January, instead of starting day one with resolutions and being stopped at the light and deciding what we can do, wouldn't it be cool to have a rolling start going into 2023? Right? And that's literally the reason that I wanted to do this training today. I know we had Inner Circle, and literally the same family is here right now is on Inner Circle. It's our mastermind family. So I know we had a training last week, but this is the only time I could fit it in. And I want to talk today because, again, I'm not going to go into, where the economy is going, and I don't have a crystal ball. None of us do. But I think we can all see that 2023 is probably going to be a recession year, close to a recession year. Things aren't changing. Interest rates are going to go up another chunk in the next probably week or two, right? So in times like this, a lot of times, our subconscious, our inner self-doubt says, hey, let's just pause a little and see where the year goes, when simultaneously this is not the time to freeze. This is a time not to look at obstacles. This is the time to look for opportunity. This is a time to gain new capabilities, to take new uncomfortable action. This is when real wealth and abundance and success can be created if you stay connected, if you gain the capabilities and know the path. Does that make sense? Jay Gray, Shady Beats. I see you, man, shaking your head. It's good to see all you guys here. So that's why I'm jumping on today. There's no other reason except I wanted to do this rolling start training, especially because you're a part of the mastermind family. And how do we stay connected? How do we stay together? And how do we get the pieces and utilize what's right at your fingertips? So that's what we're here today. I don't have anything other fancier to say other than let's crush it in 2023. The world needs us. Nobody's coming to save us. I think I've said that before. You've heard me. There's nobody going to wave a magic wand. Doesn't matter how here in America we got an election coming in a week from now. Doesn't matter who gets elected. Nobody's fixing our lives. That's what they love to run on and they love to say. I always say, whether you hated the last president or the current president, you hate both, you like both, none of them fixed your shit, for lack of a better word, and none of them are gonna. And it doesn't matter who gets elected in Pennsylvania or Atlanta or Nevada or Phoenix that everybody's freaking out about. None of them are gonna go, oh, we got the perfect candidate, it's gonna make my life easier. No, they're just gonna start more shit and try to separate us more and tell us how we're not alike when most of us are alike, right? So with that, I know I go on a little rant. the only person we can rely on is us and a community and capabilities of people who've already done there. And then we must take next level uncomfortable action. So maybe today is, Sue, thank you. Maybe today is not only the rolling start, maybe it's a little ember, a little seed, a little like hot coal under your butt to take that next level uncomfortable action, to gain even more capabilities, to be armed for what's happening and be prepared, not be reactive, but be proactive as we go in. So that's what we're working on. Besides that, as a Mastermind family member, I think a lot of you, if you saw me on Monday or if you were part of Inner Circle, we have been working our tails off on Mastermind to be way more than just building and launching your first course. And I don't know if you guys have had the chance to see what we've done and new courses coming and Inner Circle and so much more is coming. We're so stoked. I don't know if you guys saw this. I'm just going to go over this quick. We're going to start doing this around the 1st of every month. You guys are going to get an email from us. Can you pull this up, Mike? I think it's a slide. This is just a quick PDF that you're going to get in the mail. You're going to get an email every month, and it's just going to lay out what we have for you for the month. So you see the dates, you can stop there. Important dates, of course, every Monday I'll go live as a Mastermind family member. I go live every Monday. Who likes the little 10-minute lives on Monday? They're my favorite. I wait for them all week. It's pretty cool, and thank you for the amazing comments, tens of thousands of comments. It's so, you fire me up, guys. November 15th. Another brand new course will be dropped. So every month, on the 15th of the month, we are going to drop amazing new courses. Last month on the 15th, we dropped Trent Shelton's course. So many of you went through it. Nicole, I see a thumbs up. You liked it. These aren't just like filmed for 5 minutes. Trent sells that course for $299 on his website, but he's a dear friend. He gave it to us and I get to share it with the Mastermind family. So now this month, we asked my friend Brendan Burchard. Who knows Brendan Burchard? Awesome dude, great man, dear friend for almost 20 years. We asked him, what's one of your favorite courses that you sell, but we could give away to our Mastermind family? And he's giving us his Persuasion Mastery. If you ever see him teach persuasion, he does it with such love and such a big heart. Yes, Brendan B is the best. So on the 15th, you'll have Brendan's Persuasion Mastery course. So know that we'll send you an email and a reminder that it's in there. Nothing you have to do except log in and go to it. You're all members. If you're here, you're a member. You already have access, right? And then this month, November 30th, is Inner Circle this month. So if you want to put it in your calendar, I know so many of you, last month was amazing. Who saw Inner Circle last week? Raise your hand if you saw Inner Circle. Oh my God, it was one of my favorite. I had so much fun on that Inner Circle, and it was fun teaching marketing. If you liked Inner Circle last month, let me know. And if you didn't see it, you have access to it. Log into Mastermind and go check it out. I would watch it this week. It's that good. It's really good. But we got a new one coming November 30th. I think we had 6,000 people join us live this month, which was so cool. And then like literally the rest of you watched it as a replay. Like 90% of you watched it. But if you can make it live on November 30th, it's really fun. The chat lights up. It's this group, sometimes on steroids. So anyway, you're going to scroll up. I don't know what's next on that. Keep going. So this is just a quick PDF that you'll get in your inbox. October, we got Trent and Inner Circle. This month we got Brendan and my Inner Circle. And then in December, we're going to drop Tony's course, Time of Your Life. That's another, I think they sell it for $297 on Tony's Breakthrough app. I love this course. I love the way Tony presents it. So that'll be coming for you in December, December 15th. So that'll be a nice little Christmas present. And then I'll be doing Inner Circle as well. Okay, just wanted to give you a little update there. So today I was trying to think what would be a great training going into the new year. And there's a lot of things we could do, but I thought what would be really great is if we tied our personal brand, who we are personally, our values, our personal culture, and tie that into your business culture, your business brand, or the brand you're developing, or the brand you're going to create, okay? Because can we be honest, in this space event especially, and I talked about this yesterday with a small group of high-end people that I work with, a great group we have. Someday I hope some of you are in it, but I talked about this yesterday, and I wanted to extend it to you guys today. Whoever heard the delusion of, I want to keep my personal life and my business life completely separate? Isn't that something we've said and heard? But is it really possible, Sophie? Like, is it really possible to separate the two? Especially, right, you can. Especially when you're in an industry where we're actually selling us. We're selling our life experience in most cases. We're selling the mess we went through, the skill we have. We're selling our passion. Sometimes it's cathartic, because as we're teaching, we're actually healing ourselves through a mess. Or we're just teaching people how to play guitar better, eat better, all those things. If you teach people how to eat vegan, and you are a vegan, and you discover new things, and you feel better, and you cure an illness, or you lose that belly fat, that is your life, and your business is one. Can we agree on that? And here's what I want to tell you. I feel like we get to be in the greatest industry, whether you're in it, on its way, teasing it, dabbling, ready to go all in. What a great gift. I love the fact that my life is merged together in the two. And what it does is it allows you to grow personally and then help the people that you serve and sell grow even more. And how cool is it that you don't feel like you must separate the two? In fact, find a way to let them run alongside of each other. And with that said, I thought it would be great today if we went through kind of what is our personal brand and what does that even mean? You know, I shared a couple things. I see a couple of you here today, so I'm so glad you're here. And I haven't shared this publicly a lot. But one of the biggest changes in my life is when I was in my 40s, I was going through a big shift in my life, and I think I've shared this with some of you, that I was going through a divorce. And not an advocate of divorce, I got to say that, but it was happening and there was no turning back. And I was really worried about my children, and I was worried about life, and I was worried about what people think and all these things. And I feel blessed. I got coaches and I work with a lot of people, but my dear friend Tony, we've been there for each other for a long time. I flew down to Florida and we talked about a lot of things, and he said something to me. And I needed to hear it at that particular moment in my life. And he said to me, I was probably 47 at the time. He said, who are you going to become in your 50s? Who are you going to become in your 50s? He didn't say, what are you going to accomplish? And are your kids going to be okay? And he's like, I know your kids will be okay. I know you're going to be okay. I know you'll be successful financially. But I want to know, and Tony literally was this close to my face, and he said, brother, who will you become? And that hit me, maybe because it was that moment in life. Who's ever heard that before? You've all heard it, but maybe you hear it in a different way right now through this context. And I started thinking, like, who do I want to become? Like, what is my personal brand? What do I stand for? What do people say about me when I'm not around? Who am I when nobody's watching? I've heard that, but you may have heard that from me, but know that I'm sharing this with you because if you want to learn from me, I want to, listen, inside Mastermind, there's marketing training. I'm going to talk about some of the trainings we're adding, some of the trainings that are in there. There's marketing, there's strategy, there's tactics, there's sales, there's how to dial in your dot, there's how to do a launch. There's a million things. There's going to be persuasion from Brendan, training from Trent, Tony, Glenn, Jenna, Glow. We're going to have so many trainings. But I thought today, if you're okay with it, if I have your permission, is I want to kind of pull back the curtain of what's allowed me to have the success that I have right now. And I'm not saying that like, look at me. Yes, my businesses are thriving, but I feel like I've been able to tie these together, that I've had success in all areas of life. And success without fulfillment is probably the emptiest thing in the world. Would anybody here take $2 million a year but not be internally happy? Would anybody take $2 million a year not to have love in your life, or not to feel fulfilled, or not to feel aligned, or go against your values? Would anybody take it? No. And sometimes we feel like we have to compromise our values or compromise who we are to gain the wealth or abundance of joy. And that's bullshit. Sorry for saying it like it is here on a Wednesday. We don't have to. And that's why today I thought it'd be really important to talk about our personal brand and our culture and our values, and how that can fold right into our business brand that we're building or going to start. And once they're aligned, oh my God, there's no stopping. So when Tony said that to me, who do you want to become? I started thinking what my current values are. So here's what I'd love for you to do. Where is their worksheets? Is it my team built some worksheets, and I want to use them. I want to use them because I think it'd be great. So if we could drop them in the chat, you'll see, and you could look at it. You could click on the link. They're going to drop it in all the chats. And you could click on the link if you don't have time to print it. You could just write in your journal or write on a piece of paper in front of you. But let's do this, right? My team took the time to create a fancy little worksheet based on what I told them I was going to teach today. But if someone was going to describe you now, on the worksheet it says, what 5 words would, oh, that's great. Thanks for pulling that up. What 5 words would your friends use to describe you? Be honest with yourself, right? In your personal brand, right? Are you a go-getter or a procrastinator, right? And please, no judgment. No one's going to see this but you, right? On the outside, you feel like you portray an optimist, but inside you're kind of a pessimist, right? I felt like I went through years of that. Like I fought to be an optimist while like my internal voice was like, we can't do this. You're not that smart. You don't have money. Like you don't have the education. And on the outside, like I can do it. I can do it. And the inside voice like, bullshit. You can't do anything. Like, if someone was going to describe you now, if you're currently really honest with yourself on your brand, if you were lighting the ingredients of your personal brand, are you loyal? Are you trustworthy? Are you a little ADD? Are you a little distracted? Do you start things but not finish? If someone followed you around, listen, I am not judging in any way. I'm just sharing what allowed my life to go to another level. If someone followed you around with a hidden camera for a week, are you the same person when no one's watching as you are in front of other people, right? And I'm sharing that because it's an opportunity not to say, I'm perfect, Dean Graziosi's perfect, and you guys should be like me. No, I'm sharing this because at any time in history, we could change our values. We could change and evolve on who we become. I'll be honest with you. I am at least 50% responsible for the end of my marriage, my previous marriage. I would say I'm at least 50% responsible. I probably would take more. My previous wife would say, no, it's 50-50. We're dear friends, everybody gets along. And I was pretty busy. My parents were married 9 times between the two of them. They divorced. They were good at getting married, way better at getting divorced. I probably looked at love like, if it doesn't work out, you just move on, right? Like there was a lot of things I had to work on. So when Tony said to me, who do you want to become in my 50s? I started to think, well, currently, if someone described me, they'd probably like, Dean's amazing at business. Best father I ever met in my life. Work, the guy will outwork anyone. Faith, loyal to friends, a team leader, 10 out of 10. But I would bet to say 10 years ago, if someone said, well, how's Dean in his relationship? Like, not really sure. Kind of good, I guess, right? That's who I was at the time. And look where it led, right? And anybody agree that divorces can be painful, especially for children, right? Right? So at that moment, when I wrote this down of who I was, like I'm asking you guys to do, and I'm just talking through it, who I was at the time, I wrote down who I was in a relationship, who I was in business, but I also wrote down the man I wanted to become in my 50s. And when I realized that who I wanted to become, and that leads us, you can write down the 5 things, 4 things, 5 things, whatever you want of who you were. And then you can rate how happy you are with those current things. When I looked at it, I was like, I'm not happy with being that. I don't want to be a badass dad and a badass leader and a great teacher, and maybe I'm great on stage or whatever on camera, and then be an okay man when it comes to my significant other. Ugh. I'd rate some of those a 10, and I'd rate that like a 3, right? And then I started writing down the man I wanted to become. And that's, if you go to this next section, if you had a year of your best personal growth, what 5 words would you want your friends to describe you as? So you know where you are if you spend a little time with describing your brand, like this is who you are, this is your culture, right? And how happy you are. Some of it you could be a 10 out of 10, some of it a 3 out of 10. But if you gain the right capabilities Like Tony asked me, who would you want to become in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s? Who would you want to become? And I wrote things like, I wanted to be a more connected dad. I felt like I was a great dad, but I wanted to be a more connected dad. I wanted to find a way where my kids felt safe telling me freaking anything. And I described that, right? I described that. How would I accomplish that? And I wrote down things like, I'm going to find one thing with each child that we have in common, that we could do our thing. My daughter, it's her softball. I catch for every pitching. I take her to all her practices. And during that, we bond. You can't believe the stuff my daughter tells me. So I found ways. With my son, we have our own thing that him and I do. It was baseball. Now it's golf, right? And I don't even like golf, but I'm going to do it because he wants to do it, right? So I found ways to be more connected. But then when I got to business and I'm like, hey, I think I'm still playing small. I think I could impact more lives. This was before we did a 1 million person challenge. I'm like, the world needs these capabilities right now more than ever. How do we not impact 10 or 20,000? How do I find a way to impact tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, 1 million people? And I started stretching my mind, like, who do I have to, not what I had to do. I hope this is landing for you guys today, but I wasn't thinking, what do I have to do to help impact 1 million people in one event? I said, who do I have to become to impact 1 million people? Right? Who do I have to become to impact 1 million people? What kind of thinking do I have? What kind of limiting beliefs do I have? What kind of internal culture? What do I have to do when no one's watching? Do I tell people I'm crushing it, but I'm really surfing 3 hours a day on social media? Do I say that I'm positive, but when I get with my friends, I talk shit about people? Do I say that I think politicians are nuts and they think we're separate and we should be alike, but then when I'm alone, I'm talking about the, this side or that side? And I started analyzing, who do I have to become to help impact 1 million people, to lead and be hopefully a great teacher to you guys? Who do I have to become? And oh my God, when I got in that space of who I had to become, it kept going. And then I started to think about who I had to become to attract the love of my life. It wasn't about me just go and find some perfect woman to make Dean better. It's like, man, if I bring the same Dean to the next relationship, I'm going to screw that shit up too. You know what I'm feeling? Anybody know what I'm talking about? If you're really honest with yourself, you bring your same self to another situation and you wonder why you're dealing with the same shit all over again. So I started thinking, who do I have to become in a relationship? And I started working on me. I got a love coach. I got a relationship coach. I got a child-centered divorce coach to make sure my kids weren't fragmented. I realized who I had to become. So just know that everything up until today was research and development. If we take Tony Robbins' words, what if all of that happened for us? What if I had to go through that divorce and it was the only way that I found real love? That my previous wife is in the best phase of her entire life and we're dear friends. And my wife just had a baby 2 weeks ago, today, 2 weeks old. I have a little one, Vita. Like, what if that was my journey? Life had to happen that way so little Vita could be born and little Luca could be born. Maybe they were supposed to be on this earth. So I had to screw shit up to learn from it. And the only way I got this is because I learned from that and I evolved the man I am, right? I know this might sound a little crazy, like I thought you were going to show me how to be more successful in mastermind, but I feel if I'm going to be transparent with you guys on how I've approached my life to go from trailer park and no college education to more success than I ever imagined possible, I want to give you all of it and see, and this is the part I really want you to hear. We talked about how to get a rolling start. Here's the second theme of this. How does it all come together? How, if as a mastermind member, you have access to some really cool personal development stuff, right? I mean, there's 3-4 years worth of inner circles in there. You got lots of personal development. You're going to have courses like Trent's and Jenna and other people, but then also strategies and tactics on how to dial in your dot and how to sell what you know and do a coaching program. How does it all go together? That's one of my biggest goals today too, is allow you to see that how we are in our personal brand is really how we're going to act in our business brand, right? So if you start thinking, so in this worksheet, I know I've been talking a lot. We talk about what are 5 things on who you are now, 4 things, 3 things, whatever you want. How do you feel about that? If you had your best personal growth year, what are 5 words or things that how would you be described in a year from now? Right? How would you describe, like if I would describe a year later, I realized that I could have a bigger voice in my world, that I could align with Tony on a deeper level, that we could impact people. We could do a 5-day free challenge for free just to impact people's lives. Not a 90-minute webinar, 5 full days, right? I started thinking of all this stuff. In my personal life at the end, I'm like, oh, I don't have a shell around my heart anymore. I could open up. I could be someone who could leave my phone open. You could put a video camera on me for 3 weeks straight with no one watching, and my wife wouldn't meet another man except for the one she knows. Like, I started thinking of all this stuff, and I was like, holy shit, this is pretty amazing. Right? So that's the kind of stuff you could write down if you had your best personal growth. And then the last piece, and I think you should take a moment and write this down. What capabilities, trainings, or insights do you need in order to maximize your personal brand? What do you need? Do you need to get honest with yourself? Do you need more personal development training? Do you need a different routine? Do you need different disciplines? Do you need to get some new friends? Do you need to stop looking at social media? Do you need to stop looking at social media, at least the wrong social media? Follow, Jim Rohn and Lisa Nichols instead of Kim Kardashian. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up, right? What do we need to do? What capabilities do you have to gain so you can end up being the man or woman that you want to be? And here's the cool part. The journey never ends, right? You know what I loved? I've become, it's pretty cool, all this because of self-education. Isn't that crazy? Everything that I've been able to accomplish is because I help people with what I know. So I interviewed Matthew McConaughey in the Time to Thrive Challenge. I don't know if you guys saw. Anybody see that interview? I thought it was so good. But here's the cool part. We've kind of become friends. We just talked on Friday for an hour on a Zoom. And we're collaborating on doing something pretty amazing. And you guys are going to love it. Who would love to be a part of a fireside? Nobody knows this. Who would love to be a part of a fireside chat where Matthew McConaughey tells all the secrets behind his book, Green Lights? Would you guys want to be a part of a 3-hour, up close and personal, right? Not just talk about why he's an actor, but how Green Lights. So we're working on something really cool. And now I completely spaced what I was going to share with you. I had a reason I was going to share that with you. But anyway, I'll get back to it. I promise it'll come back to me. Damn it, what was it? Okay, never mind. I'll get to it. But what capabilities, trainings, or insights do you need to evolve your personal brand? And I would start thinking through that. And I would start thinking, what do you need to shift that, to change, right? And then the best thing to share, and you know what I'd love is what capabilities, if you want to put it in the chat, put in the chat. Yes, I haven't been lost a long time. You know what it is? Can I get a pass? I have a 2-week-old. I'm working on 2-3 hours sleep a night, so I'm not going to use it as an age. That's right, Alan. It's not age. I promise you. Isa, don't laugh at me, right? Ilsa, thank you. It's an excuse accepted. Thank you, Nicole. So, but the reason I want you to think about that in your personal brand, because as you grow a professional brand, some of those same exact strategies, some of those same exact thoughts will make you beyond successful. So think about this. Okay. Oh, I want to give you a couple cheat sheets here. Ready? And I asked my team to send you an email on this as well. Remember, if you're here, you're a part of Mastermind. That means you're in the community. Use the community, right? On Mondays, I go live, but look at all the amazing comments and people. The inspiration there is unbelievable. So use that, right? Yes, we originally started Mastermind to build courses, right? And we're having people make their first sale every single day. In fact, I want to play a cool video here in a bit. But it's way more than that. Like even the inner circles. I want to give you 2 that I thought fit this. And I'm going to challenge you I'm going to give you like 4 older inner circles. I think there's 4 or 5. To go watch between now and the end of the year. And I'm telling you, I didn't just randomly pick these. We scoured to say, what if I'm rocking 2023, what do I need to anchor in now? What do I need to anchor in now so I can have that rolling start, right? So number 1, and the team, if you could put this in the chat, growing your confidence. It is March 2022 training called How to Maintain Confidence in Chaos. How to Maintain Confidence in Chaos. It's the inner circle of March 2022. Again, my team is going to put it in the chat, and also we will send you an email on it. But that's 1. Number 2, if you haven't, I would watch Trent's Self-Worth Method, the new course that we just put in. Both of those, I think, are 2 really powerful things. If you already saw that one, then you got it out of the way. I would do those 2. I got some more recommendations here in a little bit, but I think that's 2 really good ones leading into the end of the year. Okay. So now let's roll over into our business brand. And the reason I say this, because I wish with all of me that you not only grow your success, you accelerate your success, whether that's a course or a coaching program or whatever business you decide, being a part of this family, that when you grow it, someday you're going to get an employee and maybe 2 and maybe 4 and maybe 7, 10, 20. Let me ask you something. Who in here knows someone that's a business owner that hates their employees? Complains about them. Oh, I can't believe it. Oh, they slack. They do this. Like just a boss or an owner bitching about his employees. Who in here knows coworkers or people that you know that can't stand the management above them? Right? To me, what that means is that someone didn't know their personal brand, their personal culture, their personal values, and they never carried them over into their business. Let me tell you the biggest gift I could give you as you grow a business someday, and yes, I'm future pacing a lot of you, and maybe some of you can't see it now, but I see it in you, and I'm giving you permission to think big, is I have a team that is my family. I would rather hang around my family, or hang around my team than most of my family, because I knew my personal brand, I knew my culture, and over years of probably making mistakes in the beginning, now I've carried that into my business, and I get to be surrounded by people who match my values, who match my core beliefs, who know my culture, and it's family. If you've ever dealt with anybody on my team, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is an extension of me, and it doesn't mean I'm perfect, but they believe in the same things I do. I asked my team, oh man, if you could find me that paper from yesterday with the list of the cultures that you guys came up with. I'm looking at Aubrey on our team. Yesterday, they gave me a list. I said, you tell me what our culture is. And you know what the first one the team came up and put together and voted on and said was? Making our clients successful. How cool is that? That they came up with that. Like making our clients successful was their number 1 belief and culture in our company, not doing a good job, appeasing Dean, making more money. It was like, oh, thank you, Aubrey. And I couldn't do any of this stuff. Can we give it up for Aubrey in the chat? She's amazing. Some of the core values that they had for their business, and you could start thinking through this, was client success, making sure they're successful, togetherness, community, making sure our clients feel like family. I did not write this. How cool is it? Now, they could have wrote this to impress me, but I know they didn't because I know them all too well. They say it like it is. Constant, never-ending improvement. Right? Who wants constant and never-ending improvement in their personal life? If you're not climbing, you're sliding, right? But wouldn't we love to just carry that over in our business? I hope you see what we're doing with Mastermind and everything we do. It's constant and never-ending, right? We're taking Mastermind to a whole nother level. We're going to this is surprise training today. There's no other reason for this. I have nothing to sell you at the end of this. I just wanted to help you guys with some thoughts going into what I believe is going to be one of the toughest years in 20 years. 17 years. But it doesn't have to be tough for this group. Not if we're looking for opportunity, not if we stay connected, not if we gain the capabilities, not if we thrive when others, and that's how we can help others by thriving. And this industry is, okay, they came up with overcoming past beliefs. That's part of our business culture, written by my team. Who wants to overcome past beliefs in their personal life? Well, we got to do the same thing in business when you go, yeah, but I could never do a webinar live. I could never have 5,000 people following me. I could never make 100,000 a month. That's old bullshit. Excuse my language on a Wednesday, right? That's old stories that we told ourselves. You also told yourself that you could never find love. I know I probably said that to me. I said I could never be deeply in love because of all the trauma with my childhood. Bullshit. That was an old belief. I got rid of that. I got a love coach. I'm married to the love of my life. I don't have an Instagram marriage. I didn't prior. I'm just being honest. So can we overcome past beliefs in our personal life? Hell yes. And we need to do the same thing in business. Don't you want to carry that culture over for you? I can get my first sale. I can do my 10th sale. I can do a high-level mastermind. I can do a high-level one-on-one coaching program. I can. New belief, because the old belief didn't serve you. Who in here has a belief that has absolutely cost you success in your life? Too old, technology doesn't work, need money to make money, this is a young person's world, who would ever believe in me? I don't have followers, right? How does that serve you? It didn't. So this is a core belief that my team came up with. Creating independence. In our business, in our company, what I love to do is each person feel like they're an independent business owner in our company. They're like mini CEOs. They're like mini entrepreneurs rather than feeling like I just work for the man. I like to create a place where we could create independence. But with you, who in here would like to create independence by making your company thrive? To be 100% in control of your calendar, of your time, of your choices, of your decisions, right? You want that in your personal life. Doesn't it roll over into your business life? Right? So I use the frame of your personal brand and your business brand. I just wanted to give it a name. Sometimes a framework helps. Because when you come up with something and go, Lisa T, I see you shaking your head. You come up with something and go, yeah, that makes sense in my personal life. That's also going to be my philosophy in my business life, right? Another one is we normalize self-education. The more you normalize self-education, the easier it'll be for you when it's time to sell or sell that next level or sell your $10,000 program or your $2,500 program or whatever it is you're selling. When it's normalized, when everything I think of, I don't think of how to do stuff anymore. I literally have changed, redesigned my brain. I'm not exaggerating. Jane Lee, I see you shaking your head. I literally have reprogrammed my brain that when I want to get something done, I don't think how, I think who. I have a podcast. I have to be honest with you. My podcast is clips from my previous trainings. And how blessed am I? My team cuts most all of them without me. They post them. And we still get, you ready for this? 500,000 downloads a month. How insane is that? It is just clips from previous trainings that I've done for decades. But I decided a month ago, I want to take my podcast, I want to have a top 20 podcast in the world. So I made that decision. Thinking bigger, I want to go for it. It's not going to happen by me cutting clips. It's going to happen because I'm going to do some of the best interviews. I'm going to rename the podcast. Just telling you some of the stuff I do. When I started thinking with my team, how are we going to be a top 20 podcast in the world? I didn't think how. I reached out and found the who of people that are in the top 20, that are friends or people I could cut a check for and say, what the hell am I missing? And now we got 3 meetings over the next 30 days with people are the who. I'm not going to figure this out. I'm just going to cut a check to someone who's already been there and say, give me the blueprint because I'm not messing around. I'm going all in. Right? So when I say we're normalizing self-education, when you normalize it in your head, you'll never think bad about paying for it. I'm going to pay these people to help me because how long would it take me to figure it out on my own? I may never figure it out, first off. If you weren't a part of Mastermind, a part of this family, you may try, but maybe you never figure it out. And what does that cost? What is the cost of inaction? What is the cost of it never happening? What is the cost of slipping away and never reaching your goals? That is way more pricey than being a part of something that's pennies a day or right? So normalize self-education. And my team wrote entrepreneurship, which I'm so glad they do because they get to be the best version of themselves. And they also said a passion for serving your past self. I love that. I'm actually going to ask them about that, but I think because this is what we do here, is that passion of serving your past self is we want to be kind to our past self, right? We want to be kind to the falls, the misses, the procrastination, the fear. We want to be kind. but we don't want that person to be in control. That's who we were, and that's who we were up to this time. And again, what Tony said, life happens for us, not to us. What if that whole journey was really just designed so you could be in this moment with the capabilities you have, with the dreams you have now, with the desires you have now, to go where you want to go now, right? So, with that, my team created the second worksheet. There's only 2. That was your personal brand. Could you guys drop it in the chat? Now, I rambled off a lot, and that's this one. If you could pull it up on the screen, and you could just write this in your journal or your paper. But it's going to feel like the same thing, but now this is in your business, and maybe they do match. But number 1 is, how are you currently showing up professionally? Now, before you fill these out, I want you to be really honest with yourself. Like, really honest. This is only you. No one's going to see this sheet. No one in the world except you. Gene, great job. But I want to share a little story with you, and then let's do this exercise. Cool? Who's up for doing this exercise with me? Are you guys feeling this today? I hope I'm coming across right, because I could teach a million things. I taught marketing on Inner Circle, but I just felt this was, going into a year like this, I feel like this is one of the most important things I could give you. When I worked in a collision shop every day, I painted cars, I fixed fenders, changed fenders, anything. You wrecked a car, you brought it to me. And I did that every day. And every night trying to scrub the grease out or the paint out from under your nails was brutal. At night, I drove a tow truck. I had 2 tow trucks. It was called Dean Collision Center. And I didn't make millions of dollars, but I had my own collision center, and I had 2 tow trucks. And it was so long ago that I had a pager on my side. There was no cell phone. In fact, it was a time when I had a car phone. Does anybody remember when literally they bolted a battery in your trunk and then ran the wire up and you had a big old harness? And then I got really cool and I went from a car phone to a bag phone. You have not lived until you carried around a 7-pound bag that was your phone. Like, that is, yes, we are that old. Yeah, I had a bag phone. And then after, I got the flip phone, which, if anybody remembers the flip phone, that was like this thick though. Like, it was this big and then it flipped down. And why am I saying that? Because I was just thinking, I had a pager. Robert, I see you laughing. I had a pager and people would page me and then you would call them back on the cell. And then I'm like, Lupe, I see you shaking your head. Why didn't they just call your cell phone back then? I always wonder that. Like, they paid you, then you, anyway, it doesn't matter. But I worked on collision. I had apartments that I worked on at night. I had tow trucks that my pager would go off all night. If there was a wreck in my town or a DWI and a car needed to be towed, that was me. And during the day, I painted cars, did it, and customers would come. And if you came to my collision shop in 1988, 1989, 1991, and I dealt with you, you would think that I absolutely loved collision repair. It was a lesson I got from a gentleman who was 85 years old, and he said, I'll think about it. Oh my God, Mark Miller. His name was Mark Miller, and he became a friend of mine. And he said, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And everybody says that, but let me tell you something. If you hate your job so much, that is the energy you're going to put out in the universe. And it's like, so many people are like, I hate this freaking job, but I'm going to do it. I'll just get by until heaven comes. And the problem is, at least this is what I perceived, is if I hate what I'm doing now and I'm grumpy and miserable and it's like, oh, I'm just getting by, heaven will never come. Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. Making sense? If you came into my shop, you'd be like, damn, this kid, he's going to love collision repair his whole life. If you knew I went home every night, I had such bad headaches from paint. I didn't have good ventilation in the collision shop. I didn't have money for the big fancy fans. And every night I went home with a headache, like pounding, like the headache where you like closed one eye, especially on paint days, because I would paint all the cars. I hated, I used to scrub my nails with a brush so much that they would crack, especially in the winter in upstate New York, because I hated having dirty nails, right? But during the day, when I was there, man, people would think, this kid loves what he does. Now, the reason I'm sharing that is because My first big real estate deal. Mark Miller was my friend, and I was also this older gentleman. He owned a 40-acre vineyard, and it was beautiful on a mountainside. And I wanted to, because he wasn't using the vineyard anymore, I wanted to buy it and put 16 houses on the hill. And he told me he'd sell the property to me for $180,000. And $180,000 at that time may have been 1.8 million or 18 million. It didn't matter. 180,000 was out of reach, right? He said that he would allow me to pay him 90,000 up front and the other 90,000 over 5 years. So now I'm down to 90 grand. Still don't have 90 grand. And I'm trying to figure it out. And I had bought some other property. I got a bunch of credit cards at the time, and I maxed all the credit cards about the other property, so I had no room on credit cards anymore. And I'm just like, I'm going to let this property go. It's not, I can't close this deal. Nobody in my family had money. And everybody in my family, if they had money, they just thought I was a nutty dreamer anyway. They probably wouldn't have lent it to me, right? So I'm being the guy that looks like he loves collision repair, and I repair this guy's car. And he comes in and he asks me what I'm doing. He's like, what do you do besides this? And I told him. And we just got talking. And he loved his car. And I washed it for him. And he picked it up. And I gave him the keys. And we're talking. And I told him about this deal. And I said, but I'll get it. I'll figure it out somehow. I said I got about 40 grand. I think at the time I had 40,000 bucks with everything saved up. I was $50,000 short. And I told him, I'm going to make this deal happen no matter what. I'll get it. Big smile on my face. I hope you love your car. Take care. Had no idea. A week later, he came down, handed me a check for 50 grand. He said, go buy that property. And it taught me that lesson. Now, he didn't give it to me. He lent it to me, and I actually gave him a piece of the pie. And I hit that thing out of the park. It was the last building boom, or 2 building booms ago in the late 90s, or mid 90s, before the dot-com bust. And it was the first transaction. It's the transaction that changed my life. It was the first transaction I made $1 million. That transaction made me a millionaire at 26 years old. I bought that property, I subdivided it, I sold off pieces of it, I sold the main part for 700 grand, this part for 300, this part for 200. It made me $1 million. So you talk about, if you ever watched the movie Slumdog Millionaire, and at the end he knows all the answers, where do they come from? It just came from life experience. I'm not smarter than any of you here. I've just been through some life experiences. I could learn so much from you. I can't wait for you guys to all have a course. And if it aligns with my soul, I buy more courses off a mastermind than anyone, right? But the only reason I'm sharing that is because it anchored into my soul, into my DNA, that how you do one thing is how you do everything. I didn't love collision repair, and I knew it was only a temporary stepping stone. But while I was there, man, it looked like I went all in. When I drove that tow truck and the pager would go off at 3 o'clock in the morning and I had to go get a car that got in an accident, I'd show up, hey police, hey fireman, hey, you okay? Okay, I'm gonna tow your car. I'll see you at the shop tomorrow. Come on in, see ya. When I got back in that truck, I was like, son of a bitch, I just wanna go to sleep. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I gotta get up at 5, right? But I'm only sharing this because someone smarter than me, Mark Miller, gave me that advice. And I took it. He was wealthier than my family. He was happier than my family. He owned the only winery in town. He traveled all over the world. He was a famous artist. I learned something from him. I used it. It changed my life. I'm sharing that with you. So how we do one thing is how we do everything. So I wanted to go through this whole story today to say, how do we take our personal brand to another level, and who do we want to become? And then how do we transition that into our business brand, and where do we gain those capabilities? You're a part of Mastermind. So many of those capabilities are right in here. But why not design it now before it comes? Why not design who you will be as you grow? So, with all that said, let's just take a couple minutes and do this sheet of how are you currently showing up professionally. This can be in your career, your business, with your colleagues, the business you're starting, the business you're already in, the business that's excelling. How are you approaching it, right? How are you showing up? Are you showing up skeptical? Like, I'll see if this shit works. If it does, then I'll go all in. How's that ever worked, right? Are you dabbling a little? Like, I think it can work. I'm not sure. I kind of will work on it. Not really. I'm working on the things I love, but I'm not really attacking the marketing side that I really got to put the time in. I should be watching this, but I really rather work on the logo. I have 4 years of inner circles. I've only watched one. Jesus Christ, I say I want more things, right? Like, what is the truth? It's only for you. Because so many times in life, we'll see people, who in here has a friend, talks about their weight all the time. When you're with them, they eat nothing but a salad, but they're still 50 pounds over what they say they want to be. There is shit going on when no one's watching. They talk about it. They say they went to the gym and they eat a salad in front of you. I have a dear friend. I'm not even going to say his name. I love him. He's one of my dearest friends in the whole world. Every time I'm with this guy, he eats a salad. Every time he's like, dude, I want to be in the same shape you are. I eat like you do. I'm like, I don't think you do. You got 50, 60, 70 extra pounds on you. Salads are not doing that. If there was a medical issue, that's one thing. I'm just being honest, dude. I feel like we eat a salad, and when you leave, you pound the box of donuts. I don't know, but there's something going on, right? So we say, Linda, you're laughing, right? We say we want this one thing, but are we really doing that shit when no one's watching? We say we want our own business, we want to thrive, but then you get online and you get stuck swiping for 3 hours and you go, oh, I didn't get no marketing done today. Of course you didn't. You were surfing online, see what Kim Kardashian wore last week. Like, we just got to get honest with ourselves. We've just got to get honest with ourselves. So I thought it'd be great to say, how are you currently showing up professionally? And let's take a minute and just write it down. I know I'm talking through this, but hopefully you're writing while I'm rambling, right? And if you take a little time, thank you guys, I appreciate the comments. And if you take a little time to write that down, then you can rate how happy you are with that. Are you happy with feeling like a pessimist about your business? Are you happy just dabbling? Are you happy if you're not all the way committed? You say you want to do it, but have you really not only gone through the education, but are you actually taking the uncomfortable action, right? Please know this is not to make you feel bad. This is just a real and raw conversation to know the ingredients that equate to success. If my grandmother handed down the most amazing apple pie recipe in the world, and every time you ate this apple pie was like, oh my God, this thing is ridiculous. I could eat the whole pie. So you know that recipe works, right? Can we all understand that? That makes sense. But then you give the recipe to somebody and they go, I don't want to use nutmeg. And, Crisco, I'm not going to use Crisco. I'm going to use olive oil instead. And then you mess up the whole thing. You change the recipe and then you go to bake the cake or the pie and it tastes like shit. And you're like, this cake thing, this pie thing doesn't work. That recipe sucks. It's like, no, you didn't follow the recipe. Like, don't shoot the messenger because you changed the recipe. These are some of the absolute recipes to your next level success. Now, if you say, well, I really don't want to do that. I don't need to go through and watch Inner Circle trainings or Trent Shelton or Brendan Bouchard. I could do this on my own. And then you look a little bit, get a little overwhelmed and surf on the internet. You're not following the recipe. You replace the nutmeg with cinnamon and you wonder why your pie tastes like shit. So, Lizzie, I see you laughing, right? Jacqueline, I see you laughing. I'm just being honest. I'm just in one of those moods today. I swear today, Sal, I see you laughing, right? I probably swore more than usual today. I'm saying it like it is. But I just see so many people say, Dean, I just would love to have the success you have. Okay, you got the blueprint. Well, I don't want to do that part, or I didn't really do. It's like you can't mix it up. And then you just have to make a decision. If you're happy with where your life is, exactly where it is, and most people are, I don't mean that your life is miserable. But if you're happy with the level of income, impact, freedom you have, then don't do anything different. But can we all agree here on a Wednesday that if we want to go from here to where we want to be, there is a gap and we need to fill it with new capabilities, new thinking, new uncomfortable action. You don't get both. You don't get to live a life where you design your calendar, control your every action, live into your full potential, have harmony and balance, and not do anything different. I'm sorry. If you're looking for that magical pill, I don't have it. There's a lot of people online to claim they do. And they'll take a lot of money from you to claim that you can get the magic pill to success, wealth, and abundance. And being in this space for a lot of years, I've never seen it happen. We got to do the work. But wouldn't we rather do a little bit of the work now so we can live easier later? Live the hard way now so we can live easier later? Right? So that's what I'm here to kind of remind you to do today. Is let's do a little bit of the heavier lifting now. Let's prepare, let's get a rolling start going into 2023. And it's one of the reasons we're working so hard on Mastermind for you. You're our family. Right? It's why we're going to give you a brand new course every month. It's why we have inner circles and we put 4 years worth of inner circles. And we got some cool surprise things coming that's going to blow your mind. Because we want to give you more of those capabilities. But we can give you the capabilities. I could be there every Monday for you live and every Thursday training and inner circles and new courses. I could do it. But if you don't show up, if you don't take the ingredients, then the pie is going to taste like crap and you wonder why it doesn't taste good. Right? And at any time, I won't go through it, but anytime you want to go through and do the other part of this, right? It's kind of like the same as the personal brand. This is your business brand. If you had a year of your best professional growth, what would that look like? What would you have accomplished? And I'd say, you know what? Maybe as soon as you get off here today, when we're done, fill this out completely. Maybe you could print it, or you could just write it down and really go into it. And let this be your guide rolling into 2022 or 23. And then what capabilities, trainings, or insights do you need to evolve? I want to give you another one here. Okay, ready? Write this down. September 2022. Implement without overwhelm. How to turn your knowledge into next level results. So September 2022, that's another good one to watch between now and the end of the year. And here's what I'd suggest. If you go into Mastermind and you go to where the inner circles are, there's like, I don't know, 12 or so that are the last 12. But then there's a link at the bottom that takes you back to 4 years worth. And everything you could possibly imagine is there. There's some in there about anxiety. Like anything that I was facing that time in my life is what I taught. And if you guys are a part of inner circles, you know I don't dabble in inner circles. I teach in inner circles. So the 3 topics are either mindset, marketing, or momentum. You can go through, and maybe I'm suggesting one you saw. No, I saw September 2022. Great. Then go find one that you feel you need that would be at the bottom of this sheet, right? What capabilities do you need for a personal brand or business brand? Go find it and schedule to watch it before the end of the year, right? Yes, there is, Bronson, there is 4 years worth, so pretty cool. And also, if you missed last week's October one, definitely put that on your list. Okay. One more. I see my team wrote this down. There's one more from September. We're going to send you an email on all this, guys. So not that I want you to give you an excuse, but September 2019, it says reverse engineering your end goal. I remember training that one. I love the state I was in when I trained that. And it's really showing you how to deconstruct the goal, deconstruct the end of the year, and how to start doing things today so at the end of the year you reach that goal. That was a really powerful training. So I would definitely put that on your list. September 2019, reverse engineer your goal. So guys, that was my idea today. I hoped to show you how you can tie your personal life and your business life. And when they're aligned, they don't feel separate. When they're aligned, you feel like you're growing individually, but that can also grow your business. Showing you the traits. And guys, could you share in the chat the traits that you guys wrote down, some of the Mastermind core values? And there's something special about knowing where you're going that's aligned with your soul that'll make your growth not feel like work. I have to be honest, I work more hours today than I ever have in my life. And I'm a worker. I put the time in. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I put the time in. I started at 3:45 this morning. Like, insane, I know. But the crazy part about it is I love what I do. Like, I'm at a place where I truly don't have to work anymore, and I'm working harder than ever because I've fallen in love with what I do. I've fallen in love with you guys. I want you guys to succeed. I'm falling in love with your success. I know that might sound cheesy, like you fell in love with me. Well, that's weird. No, I love what I do. I love the outcome you can have. And the better I get, the better I work on my personal brand and my values and my culture. And I work on the personal brand of our business, or the business brand and the business culture and the business values. That means I attract more amazing people into our company. I attract more people into our mastermind family, and this family grows and lifts each other, and better courses get put in and better inner circles get put in, and collectively together we grow. Because being a part of mastermind, you're a part of something bigger than yourself. The community, the software, the courses, the inner circle that keep growing. We could all grow together, or you kind of fade away and go, maybe I'll try this on my own. And then 6 months or a year from now, you're online looking for the next thing. And we don't want that. We want this to be the only thing, and to support you and give you what you guys need. And I hope we're doing a good job. You guys ready to make 2023 amazing? Forrest, good to see you, man. Hope you're great. Guys, that's my surprise training for today. So I hope you enjoyed. I'm probably missing something that my team wanted me to share with you. I usually get it all. Let me just look. We're going to send you a cheat sheet of the recommendations I think you should go back and watch before the end of the year. Remember, you're going to get your PDF every month on the 1st to tell you all the cool things that are coming. Be on the lookout for Brendan's course on the 15th. Be on the lookout on the 30th. I'll be live with Inner Circle. Remember, we get the opportunity to do this. Like, when things don't feel like a chore, when they feel like it's a blessing to be able to serve, to help people, to create, to invent, to write something on a whiteboard or write something on a piece of paper and then make it real. As entrepreneurs, we make crap up and then we make it real. That's what we do. Or if you don't want to consider yourself an entrepreneur, someone who's seeking a higher level, we just make stuff up and then we get to make it real. But in this industry, us making it real is impacting others while we can grow our own success. And I promise you, in the journey of helping others, we all grow. I'm a better man, a better father, a better leader because I get to serve and I get to share, and I want to show up as the best version of me all the time. I believe this is the greatest industry you could ever be a part of. And even if you weren't in this industry, where Mastermind is going, you should stay in it forever anyway, because of this family connection and the training that's coming. And we just want to share with you what we're delivering and all the great things we have going on. Guys, I appreciate you so much. Thanks for spending this time with me. Don't forget to jump in, do the homework, look out for an email, and we'll see you soon. Bye, guys.